If you've been keeping up with the news coming out of Central Florida, you may have heard that there's a new hotel that just recently opened up. And while it's not technically new, it is a hotel under new management. It's right here in Celebration, aka the town that Disney built. And today I want to tell you a little bit about it because I've actually, where is it? Right there. I've actually stayed there before, and I have some insight that you might want or need to know if you're considering adding that to the list of places you want to stay. Also, maybe you're visiting someone who lives in the Celebration area or nearby and you're thinking, why not there? I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that, but we're going to duck into the car because it is wet. My pants are wet, my shoes are wet. It's raining today, but I still wanted to chat with you. Also, I was in town because I had a dentist appointment, so I figured as good a time as any to chat about this, right? Figured we might be able to walk around, but no. So into the car we go. So like I said, Celebration is the town that Disney built. And we've wandered around before, we've talked about it before, but it was like back in the 90s, Disney made this community, and it has this kind of Disney feel, even though it no longer is owned by Disney. We've wandered around before, so I'm not going to focus too much time and energy talking about this area, but I will say that Celebration is, well, it's got a lot to offer. It's got a really nice town center, which is where we are right now. There's shops and restaurants. There's a lot of events that happen here throughout the year as well, both during Halloween and especially Christmas. There's also other things that you might find yourself needing, you know, day to day, like a dentist's office, which, like I said, is where I was earlier. Because of its proximity to Walt Disney World, a lot of people choose to live here. But there are, of course, other reasons as well. It's a whole environment, you know, and it definitely caters to a very particular lifestyle. But again, that's not what we're focusing our energy on today. I want to zero back in on the hotel. So here in Town Center, there is a hotel. It's located by the pond. I showed you that here a second ago. And you know, over the years, like businesses do, it's undergone some changes, renovations, shifts, all that good stuff. And very recently we saw that this property underwent another change. So it's now called the Inn at Celebration. It's part of the Marriott Autograph Collection, and of course, you know, it is part of Marriott Bonvoy, and you can use your points and all that good stuff, which it was before as well, but it's good that it still is, you know. If this is a place that you used to come regularly and use your Marriott points, you still can. Now, from what I've been seeing online, just kind of perusing the website, rooms here at the Inn at Celebration, they run about $300 a night, which isn't too bad. I will say that you can get rooms cheaper. I did find some for like as low as $170 a night, depending on where I was looking, but timing is going to be everything for that. And I got to be real with you, I think that that's a really fair price. The location is ideal, especially if you're looking for this type of vacation experience. You know, maybe you're going to drive into the theme parks or something like that, but you want to have a chill, laid back time here in Celebration, wandering around the shops, eating at some of the fantastic restaurants. I mean, I can't complain about $300-ish a night. So, you know, there's that. Of course, there are other fees and taxes that need to get added onto that, so take that into consideration if you're considering this property. Now, like I said, I've stayed at this hotel before, even though it was prior to this most recent renovation. And I did review this hotel, I want to say, or at least I talked a little bit about it, but I can't offer that same review now because it has been updated. So maybe some of the shortcomings that I experienced no longer exist, you know, so I can't speak to that. I can't speak to what the experience is like there now. But there is something that I definitely want to comment on, and that is some of the logistics that you have to keep in mind if you're considering staying at this hotel, specifically if you're planning on going to Disney or if you want to stay here without renting a car. So when I stayed here, it was a couple years ago. So, you know, just keep that in mind and use this story as a bit of like a tool to help you figure out what you might have to plan for as opposed to taking it for gospel, okay? I flew into Florida and my first order of business was taking a ride share to Celebration because I wanted to spend at least one night here, like get a sense for the place, because we were considering Celebration as a place we might want to call home at some point in the future. And I chose Celebration Town Center for where I wanted to stay because everything was so walkable, there was so much going on, and there, of course, is the hotel right here in Celebration Town Center. Of course, at the time it was under a different name. And you know, it was a perfect location, although I think it was a little bit more expensive than it is now. But that's neither here nor there. It was the perfect location, and I loved staying here for a long list of reasons. Of course, there were some shortcomings that the hotel had, but of course, you know, every hotel has its pros and cons. But anyway, the stay went as good as you might have expected it to. My time in Celebration went well enough. But when it was time for me to leave, that's when I ran into an actual issue. And my issue was with trying to get out. Like I said, I flew in. I went the route of not renting a car because ride shares were available. But, you know, something to keep in mind is that just because something is an available option doesn't necessarily mean it's available to you given your circumstances. And I learned that really quickly trying to get out of Celebration. I could just not get a car. I just couldn't. The app timed out, like my request timed out multiple times. I had a car that was on its way and then it canceled a couple times. And while I can't remember like definitively how long I had to wait, I was sitting out there for, I want to say it was a couple hours. Of course, my memory might not be right on that one, but it was a significant amount of time. So much time, in fact, that even the valet guys who were outside were like, "Are you good? Like, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Look, I can't get a car out." And at this point, I'd also tried Uber because I always have a backup. I couldn't get anything. I ended up having to order a Lyft Black XL because that was the only like type of car that was willing to come pick me up, which if you're familiar with that, it's much more expensive than it is to just take a regular Lyft. So my budget took a huge hit, paying over $60 to take this ride over to the Swan. But at this point, I mean, I'd been waiting for a significant amount of time and I couldn't get a ride otherwise. So it felt like my only option. And you know, I'm confident saying that it was. And you know, over the years since I've been here living in this area, I'm in Celebration all the time for one reason or another. I've checked Lyft to see like if it's easy to get a ride out, and it never seems to be here in the Celebration area for one reason or another. Probably because even though we're close to Walt Disney World, we're kind of out of the way, you know? So I don't know, I guess maybe Lyft drivers don't prefer to come this way, or rideshare drivers, I should say. Whatever the case may be, I've found that it's a little bit difficult to get a rideshare from here out. And I do think that that's worth noting if you're considering this hotel or if you're considering anywhere in this immediate area. While it might not be impossible, you might find yourself struggling a little bit, especially if you have places that you want to get by very specific times. If you've got an itinerary you want to stick to, even if it's loose, you know, maybe consider renting a car if you want to stay here. I don't know, those are just my thoughts, and definitely something that I think you should consider if this place is on your list, which it might be. I mean, you have Marriott points, which you might want to use. Maybe you're considering staying in Celebration for one reason or another. Whatever the case, now you know. Now I'm going to be honest with you, whether or not we actually stay at the inn here in Celebration is still up in the air. I do think it's a beautiful spot. I would love to check it out, but there are so many other places that we'd love to stay this year that I don't know that this is at the top of our list. But if you'd love us to check it out, you want us to tour a room or something like that, let us know by dropping a comment down below. Also, if you've ever stayed here in the past or are considering it in the future, let us know what you like or dislike about this hotel, whether it's the location, the hotel itself. We want to hear about it. But I think that's all for now. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope that you enjoyed just sitting for a bit. I know we're stuck inside, but you can hear the rain. It's raining quite a bit more than I expected it would. And I don't have an umbrella anymore. My umbrella broke. Otherwise, we'd be talking about this as we stroll around the lake, which is a beautiful place. Can't really see it with all the rain, but it's a beautiful place to just kind of stroll and enjoy Celebration, you know, but like I said, no umbrella. But anyway, thanks so much for hanging out with me. Looking forward to seeing what you have to say, and hopefully we'll hang out soon. Actually, I know we'll hang out soon. We definitely will. And when we do, hopefully it's not raining. Anyway, stay dry, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.